Authors, did you know that imposter syndrome does not discriminate? Case in point, the great and beloved Maya Angelou once stated, "Each time I write a book, every time I face that yellow pad, the challenge is so great. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now." So what does that tell you? Even our most respected and beloved and world-renowned peers have faced and suffered imposter syndrome. If you want to find out how you can deal with it effectively, just by asking yourself in that moment of doubt, just by asking yourself just one question, stay tuned to the podcast. You know your boy DK got you. Let's go.
NL Publishing Service Academy proudly presents Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast with literary success consultant DK Walker. Sharing with you writing tips, marketing ideas, publishing information, and inspiring interviews for your author journey. So, without further ado, let's get right into it with DK Walker.
Hey, how's it going? I'm DK Walker, and this is Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast. Man, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you are choosing to spend your time with your boy, and for that, I am eternally grateful. I'm so humbled. Look, before we get into today's episode, we got to pay bills off the bat. If you are a struggling author and you're having problems going from book idea to actually creating your book, I got the perfect thing for you, the absolute perfect thing for you. And what I get asked a lot is this thing for pantsers. That's for people that sit in the seat and they just freestyle they get an idea and they just sit down and start typing. To people that are planners. Now, planners outline their entire book. The unfair writing advantage serves both types of authors. If you have your pantser and you want to just go off the top of your head, what happens is your creativity is all over the place. It has no direction, so therefore it takes you longer to get where you're going to when it comes to writing your book. If you're a planner, sometimes you'll plan. You get bogged down in the minute details of your book. The unfair writing advantage serves pantser and planner perfectly.
Hello, my name is Britt Kuhn and I just love DK Walker's The Unfair Writing Advantage. I am now well on my way to writing my second book because of his advice, wisdom, tips and tricks like mind blown at how simple and easy it really is. I am forever grateful our paths crossed, DK. You will always be one of my favorite humans. Thank you.
Learn how to write faster, conquer writer's block, and tell a story your readers will love. In less than 1 month, writing only 3 pages daily, you can go from book idea to manuscript using the unfair writing advantage. Most authors take 8 months on average to write just 1 book. But in a fraction of that time, you will learn how to craft a book your readers will love and not be hunched over your laptop days on end to do so. Just go to www.theunfairwritingadvantage.com to see what has the self-publishing industry buzzing. Now back to the podcast.
How's it going, author family? Let's trim the fat and get into the meat of the matter of this thing called imposter syndrome and what you can do about it. Believe it or not, there was a point in time in your lives when you did not adhere to that thing called imposter syndrome. Believe it or not, during your writing career, your author career, you could give a rat's ass about imposter syndrome. And how do I know this? You learned to write a book way before thinking about self-publishing. Way back when you was in elementary school, you actually learned the basics, the foundation to writing a book, because a book is nothing more than elongated paragraph. That's all a book is, nothing more, nothing less. You have an opening that grabs your attention. You have the middle of your paragraph that substantiates the opening. Then the ending of the book ties up any loose ends and draws a conclusion. That's a paragraph. Same definition as a well-written book. When you was in grade school, I didn't say middle school, I didn't say high school, I said grade school. When you first learned to write a paragraph, your teacher gave you an assignment, you did it to the best of your ability, you turned it in, and you didn't think about what she thought about your work. I got quiet for a second because I want that to hit home. I'm not trying to be deep. But anyway, you turned your work into your teacher and you didn't care to think. You just wanted to be done with it. You didn't care. You didn't hesitate. You went through it quickly as possible. You thinking that you weren't good enough never crossed your mind. So the question has to be asked, what happened to make you care so much, to make you believe, at you meaning you authors, make you believe that my work isn't good enough? What happened was you got older, you started reading other people's work and decided you want to become an author yourself. And then as you're writing, you somehow, some way thought to yourself that what you're writing doesn't measure up to what inspired you to write. I'm going to say it again. What you were writing didn't measure up to what inspired you to write. And so soon as you had that first self-defeat talk, like my work isn't good enough, imposter syndrome reared its ugly head, and now look at you, just stuck in front of your computer, playing doggone games, scrolling on your phone, doing everything but writing because you didn't believe your work was good enough. But think about it, when you was a kid, it didn't matter.
Hello, my name is Britt Kuhn, author of Radiant. I am so over the moon excited that I am holding my book in my hands. And it is all thanks to DK Walker at NL Publishing Services. I promise you, I did not know how to write a book, yet here it is. Your guidance and direction during this entire process and your ability to handle my indecisiveness has been such a blessing. I am so grateful for you, and I will forever sing your praises. Thank you so much for being you, and I can't wait to work on the next one.
Writing your manuscript has been hard enough, so let NL Publishing Service Academy make self-publishing your book easy as possible. From beautifully designed full and ebook covers to uniquely done typesetting and formatting, our goal is to professionally enhance your manuscripts and book covers to give your readers the best reading experience possible. Need marketing tips, tactics, and strategies? We can help you with that. How about branding and broadening the reach of your author platform? Yep, we can help you with that too. So no matter what your self-publishing needs are, NL Publishing Service Academy has you covered. Just head over to www.nlpublishingservices.com for whatever your self-publishing needs are. And now back to the podcast.
And the reason that it matters now because you are scared. You're literally petrified about what somebody's going to think about your work. But flipping that coin over, the only way that you're going to be any good if you get feedback from your readers. That's quite a pickle to find yourself in as a writer if you think about it. You're scared to put your work out because you don't believe that your writing isn't any good. Flipping that coin over, you like the only way to find out is somebody needs to read my work to make that judgment call. Think about it. Back in elementary school, when you first turned in that paragraph that your teacher asked you to write, you turned it in, didn't care about nothing. You went to recess, ran around, came back in, tired, sweaty, hair looking crazy. Maybe I'm talking about myself. That's neither here nor there. But the teacher, if she was a loving, kind, caring teacher and she wanted to really teach her students, she would break out the red pen and then she would highlight things that you needed to improve. That's the data. If you were a kid that cared about your grades, you would take the notes that was written on that paper and you would make the adjustments. Fast forward to now. Fast forward to you being stuck in your doggone chair, sitting in front of your laptop in a write or non-writing stupor, caring too much what readers are going to think about your book. But the only way to get better is to actually self-publish and get your book out to the masses. It's the only way. But as long as you're sitting there thinking that what you've written isn't good enough, then you'll never get that data back to be judged upon. And what's really confusing to me, we're so concerned about what people think, but readers matter. They matter because they support us. They take the time out of their lives to read our books. They matter in that regard. But we care about people that we don't know personally. Think about it. You don't have imposter syndrome being a parent. You don't have imposter syndrome being a husband or wife. You don't have imposter syndrome being a significant other. Now, there may be some exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, when it comes to creatives, we hold our work against somebody else's work. And the problem with that is we're holding our work up against somebody else that's been doing it for quite some time. But the only way to get to where they're at is that we have to get into our reader's hand, regardless if we feel as though that it's not good enough. regardless, we got to be like, okay, I need to self-publish. I need to get this out. I need to do this the only way I know. If not, I'm going to stay on this doggone vicious, self-defeating cycle of sitting here in front of my computer, looking at my work, and oh my God, it's just not good enough. By whose standards? Look, there's a quote. I want to get this quote right. Comparison is the thief of joy. You're comparing your work to, like I said earlier in the podcast, to who inspired you to write. But in doing so, you can't put your book out there to gain the data to find out exactly where you're at. Look at it this way. Look at your readers being your elementary school teacher, and what they say about your book will be the red pen notes that you can take data from. It'll be the notations that you can take data from, and then you can make any adjustments, and then your next book should be better because if you're paying attention to detail, okay, I know what they like and I know what they didn't like, and I'm gonna move forward. So the first thing that you need to do mindset wise is stop personalizing imposter syndrome. That's the first thing. The second thing is knowing that everything is a lie, and you as an author have to choose which lie that you want to believe. Do you want to believe the lie that you have imposter syndrome and that your work is not good enough? Or do you want to have the mindset of knowing I'm an author? I may not be producing the quality of work that my constituents are, that my peers have out. I may not be producing that, but it's going to get there. Why? Because I'm an author. This is what I do. This is what I sleep, eat, breathe, drink. I'm an author. I believe that. Now, what needs to happen is your actions need to match your mindset. For people that's into daily affirmations, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers, but those things are nothing but beautiful lies until you start to become that thing that you're saying to yourself every day. And that's the beautiful thing about your brain. Your brain cannot differentiate between the truth and the lie if you're the one that's doing the self-talking. So why don't you, as an author, choose to have positive talk with yourself? Once you start to have those doubts, like when you believe your work isn't good enough, first of all, who are you comparing your work to? Because everybody goes through this. You're not just going to sit down and write great books. It's a rarity. Once every blue moon, somebody is gifted. Just as Michael Jordan may be gifted with a basketball, just Kobe Bryant may be gifted with a basketball. You have those anomalies. You have those exceptions to the rule. They're gifted at what they do. But for the most part, everybody else works their ass off. And so you have to get out the mindset that as soon as you sit down that you're actually writing a bestseller. Just tell the best story that you can at that point in time. And doing so, everything that you want, you will get because your actions are matching what you're now telling yourself. I'm an author. I'm not comparing my work to nobody's work. Quick side note about me personally. I have never, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not tooting my own horn. I don't want you to misunderstand me, but I never have suffered from imposter syndrome. I am who I say I am. I'm one of the greatest storytellers that's unknown to man. That's going to soon change. But if I don't do anything else, I tell a great story. When I'm out with my friends and whatnot, when I get to talking, they side conversations stop because they know I'm going someplace with it. I'm going to say something that's going to be shocking, outlandish, crazy. I'm going to provoke a thought. People come look for me to take me out because they know like I'm going to get a good story out of him. Man, drinks on me. Get him, as them young people say, get him lit. The reason we got to get him because he gonna go on and man, you remember when you said such and such, such and such? They don't even ask if it's true. It doesn't even matter if it's true. It's a great story. And I've been that way since I was a kid. My mother was like, boy, you lie so much, you need to go do something with it. Henceforth, the greatest storyteller not known to man was born. Soon one day I will be known. I'm saying all this because in your mind, you have to be that thing before you are that thing. And so I want to get to the one question that you have to ask yourself. And I appreciate if you made it this far on the podcast, but I want to get to the one question that you must ask yourself in order to defeat imposter syndrome forever. And that one question is, what can I do to make my work better? You see what I did there? Now you're looking for something tangible. What can I do? If you honestly believe that you can do better, if you honestly believe that I can do better than what I'm about to publish, if I can honestly do better than this, what can I do better? So there is 9 elements to writing the perfect. Yep, I said the word perfect. There is 9 elements to writing the perfect chapter, right? Because you don't sit down and write a book all at once. You write it chapter by chapter. And if you write the perfect chapters and those chapters are great, if the chapters are great, it's easy to surmise that you're going to have a good book. If I got enough great chapters, say if I got 17, 18 chapters, and out of those 18 chapters, 15 of them are great, easily I can go ahead and tip my hat and say I got a good book on my hands. Why? Because I know 15 out of the 18 chapters are great. I'm assuming. Why? Because I implemented these 9 elements. I'm going to tell you exactly what those 9 elements are. So the next time that imposter syndrome tries to overtake you, do not feed into that negative energy. If you honestly believe that your current work in progress is not living up to the standards that you set forth, have a moment and then ask yourself this one simple question: how can I make it better? It's simple. Make sure that each chapter has these 9 elements and you're guaranteeing yourself a perfect chapter. The first element is identify your chapter goals. The second element is be specific in your writing. The third element is make sure your chapter continues your story. The fourth element is write to the emotions of your reader. The fifth element, always inject excitement into your chapters. The sixth element, always keep your chapters under 4 pages. The seventh element, don't be afraid to make your readers uncomfortable as long as it's entertaining. Quick sidebar. Me and my wife last night, we watched You People, a Netflix movie that came out with Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill and a cast of who's who that was in the movie. And it was talking about Jewish people and black people. And it was a very hot topic. And they really went in and went there. I could not, it was like a car wreck. I was uncomfortable to watch, but I kept watching because it was so entertaining. So don't be afraid to make your readers uncomfortable, but keep it entertaining. If you need a great example of that, they're not paying me, but I'm going to plug them anyway. Go watch You People on Netflix. The 8th chapter element is do not write past your chapter goal. And the 9th and final chapter element is end your chapter with a cliffhanger. No worries if you did not write these down. I'm going to leave these 9 chapter elements in the show notes so you can use them at your leisure. I appreciate y'all, staying with me today throughout the whole podcast. It means the world to me. It honestly does. If you found any, and I do mean any value out of this podcast, do me a favor and share it with a fellow author. Do not be stingy with the information. Secondly, if you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, leave me a review. Like, it doesn't cost you nothing. Leave me an honest. I didn't say a great review unless you thought it was worth it, but I just need an honest review. Why? Because like I said earlier, that review is my data and it lets me know where I need to self-correct at. With that being said, man, it's your boy DK Walker. I appreciate y'all rocking with me today. I will catch y'all next week. By the grace of God, because ain't no day promise, but I'll catch y'all next week, man. Peace.
This episode of Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast has ended. But please be sure to subscribe for more literary strategies and tactics to help you create the profitable, successful author career you've always wanted. And don't forget to rate and leave a review so we can continue to bring you the best author and book-related content. See you on the next episode.